Muted, of course. Ciao ragazzi, my name is Anthony. Welcome back on Inter Worldwide. I'm excited to be here today, man. You know why? Because I checked the YouTube today. I'm like, shit. It's been a whole week since I did a live stream. You lazy C word. You lazy C word. In Australia, we use that word every day. Every day. However, I'm excited to be here today to review Matchday 14 because getting home on a Tuesday and looking at all of Serie A is a hobby of mine, and I get to do it with my small, intimate community. So let me know if you do come through. We've got 13 people that have clicked the video right now. Let's make the view look a little bit nicer. How about that? How about that? We've got to make it look like something. Do I seriously not have an overlay to put on? That's poor form proved. That's poor form. Yes! Let's just go with that straight off the bat. Oh, we love that. Oh, yes, sir. We love that. Let me just make that a bit smaller. We'll make this a bit smaller. That's the way. Oh, my. Oh, today's going to be a good day. Today's going to be a very, very good stream. I just know it. You just know it when it's going to be a good stream. Beautiful. Matchday 14. Another day. Another drop point for Juve. We're feeling you, Knicks Knox. That's going to be a problem. This view with cameras. Hey, mates. Mates. When it works, it works. When it works, it just works, doesn't it? When it works, it just works. 100. Just another day. More drop points. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. My friend Rino is in the chat. Buonasera. Buonanotte to anybody at night. Buongiorno to anybody in the morning. Let's get cracking. Match day 14. Good morning to Anne. It's good to see you back again. You've been visiting more frequently, Anne, and I appreciate you dearly. Let me know a little bit more about you. Where are you from? Who do you support? Big ups to Matchday 14. Let's start it right where I believe it started. I think it was the first game of the match day. Cagliari 1, Verona 0. We started this one on Saturday, and I think this was the Saturday morning game for me in Sydney, Australia. And I actually did wake up and watch a little bit of it because I love Serie A. Why would I be here if I don't love Serie A? Honestly, I'm here because it's what I enjoy more than anything in the world. And I'd much rather watch Cagliari than any Premier League game that's on a Saturday morning. By the way, you might be able to see me a little bit better than usual, even with the lights off, because new desk light. Also, it might be slightly better quality because new camera. Not bad, eh? 1-0, but really big 3 points for Cagliari here. Really big 3 points for Cagliari here. These relegation head-to-heads, I find them entertaining. I don't know about anybody else, but I find them entertaining. In fact, I think relegation head-to-heads are the next most exciting thing to a top-of-the-table clash. Bum everything else. I love a good old-fashioned relegation six-pointer. Slugfest. Knowing too well you're going to sit through the ass crack of Serie A for 94 minutes, but somebody is going to get a disgustingly profitable 3 points, and they're going to celebrate it like they've survived relegation on that day. That's right. I remember you well. I remember you so well now, and I will continue to remember you from this day. I can guarantee it. Big up. You're on loan to Juve, but yeah, good. You obviously saw that it was a stupid thing to do. Mio fratello Uno is here. Bruno, if you know, you know. He'll be back. He'll be back. Just wait patiently. This is a big return. This is a big out of retirement thing. This is like Thierry Henry, Arsenal, Paul Scholes, Man United thing when Bruno comes back. Don't worry about that. Big 3 points for Cagliari. Piccoli gets a goal in the 75th minute. Plenty of shots in this game as well. Cagliari definitely dominated the match and wanted the 3 points. Overall, what does this mean for Verona? We'll get to the ladder later, but they are awful. They are absolutely awful. They're the second worst team in Serie A, and I've been saying it since the start of the season. Because if you want to jump in, you don't need to ask. If you need like a link or whatever, just let me know. This is Bruno's world as well. Maybe just wait 1 sec. Let me drop this out. I'll give you a hint. If you want to jump in, Bruns, in about when it gets to just before Napoli, I'll be talking about Parma Lazio. You'll see it on the screen. If you slide in for Parma Lazio, like just after Parma Lazio, that's when a lot of the bigger talking points are. I've strategically ordered it. So jump in when you see Parma Lazio, bro. There's your cue. Big goal for Piccoli, big 3 points for Cagliari as well in this relegation 6-6 pointer. And yeah, I love these games, and they become even juicier as the season goes on. We've got 11 people with us on Inter Worldwide today. That's fantastic. This is the worst time to record, but I'm really happy to be here. We're not really going to call this a relegation 6-pointer because both sides, I think, are good enough to survive it. Monza aren't looking good on the table, but they've got better players and a better system than a lot of these teams in the ass crack of Serie A. And I really, really think that Monza should survive this season. I don't think that they should have fallen from grace as much as they have, even with the players that they've lost. 1-1 altogether in this you call it a Lombardia relegation derby, basically. Call it a Lombardia relegation derby, but both sides should be able to survive relegation. Why not? Why not? There are some worse sides. I forget who scored for Como. I wouldn't even be able to pronounce his name anyway. His first name's Yannick. Janic. Don't know. Gianluca Caprari scored the penalty for Monza in this game. In a game where Como dominated possession and shots, I watched a good maybe like 35 minutes of highlights back. Very extended stuff. And both teams looked like they were enjoying spells of the game where they could have grabbed the 3 points at either or. This is one of those matches that was always primed to end in a draw, and I had it on about 2 or 3 different betting slips on the weekend to be a draw. All of those betting slips failed, but it wasn't because of this gorgeous leg that was paying about $3.50. So that was an easy draw to pick. Lombardia relegation derby ends in a draw as well. There's the penalty for Monza. Good old Caprari. He's probably got a few goals this season, to be honest now. I reckon he's easily got about 3 or 4. I've seen him score 4. Yeah, 100%. Always a mistake going to Juve. Very good. Good banter. All right, here we go. This guy is good. This guy is bloody good. And I don't say that about Milan players very often, but I can't hide the fact that I'm a big Renders fan, man. I am a big Renders fan. I love Dutch people. I love Dutch players. I love everything about Holland. I don't care what team you play for. When Edgar Davids was playing for Hertes, I still loved Edgar Davids. I love Dutch players. And this guy is bloody good. He is turning up in pretty much every fixture for Milan. And I hope he continues to do well. I hope Milan continues to not do as well as Inter, obviously, and do poorly. But when this guy does well, I'm pretty happy. Milan played very well in this match. Rafael Leao looked happy. Morata was moving well. This match against Empoli was a routine win for Fonseca, and he buys himself more time. He really buys himself more time. Titi is the truth. He's the truth, and I'm a big fan. I love seeing him happy, and I really, really think he's going to continue. Look at him go. Look at him go. He's the man at the moment. But to be fair, you got a lot of players in your team that should be stepping up and doing more. You know, Leao has started to play with that original flair that we know that he has, and that he should be bringing more consistently in the last 3 or 4 games. But he needs to continue that now and not let one bad game or a game where he, bombs a shot or whatever, and he doesn't get his name on the score sheet. He can't let it bum his confidence for 2 or 3 matches. Pulisic as well. 5 out of 8 games, Pulisic is awesome, in my opinion. I think it's very, very soon to say you are back. I think you'll go through spells this season where you just don't get the results you want. Like for me, in my head, you're nowhere near a Scudetto race. You're nowhere near a title challenge. It's between Napoli, Inter, Atalanta, and because of my PTSD, Juve for some reason. But we'll get to that eventually. Altogether, good 3 points for Milan, because you got to remember they're still waiting to play their game in hand as well, which Inter now has, as well as Fiorentina. I left that one at the end on purpose, very much so on purpose. Milan, I'm just checking the table on the side, with 22 competition points with a game in hand, could jump to 25, which would put them 1 point behind 6th place in Juventus. So yes, Fonseca still making up for blips and glitches. You've had back-to-back draws before going into this fixture and getting a win, which was against, who was it against? I know you haven't won 2 games in a row. I'm just forgetting who it was against. It was against Juve, wasn't it? Yeah, it was against Juve. But I might have fought to Fiorentina. He lost or drew? I think he lost. I think he lost to Fiorentina. Yeah. He lost 2-1. I was watching. It was funny. I remember you lost. Good points though for Milan. Mandatory points if they're looking to respectfully do what Anne expects and what the Milan fan base expects, and that's stay on top of things. Oh yeah, Bologna finally have blood, finally have a little bit of life in them. This is what happens when you play in the Champions League as well. Bologna's playing Champions League football. They're traveling. These players have never done so much work in their life. So when they go home to play at home against the worst team in Serie A, that's when Bologna will breathe new life. 3-0, super easy. 20th minute, 25th minute, 30th minute, whatever it was, penalty for Ndoi. He grabbed another goal about 15 minutes before the end. And Orsolini, I think, scored from the penalty spot as well. They ripped this game. They ripped them like 3 or 4 times as many shots. They had like double the possession that they had. I don't even know if Venezia got a shot on target, to be honest. I have absolutely no idea. I watched about 30 minutes of this match. It was just a routine win for Bologna against the team that is, in my head, definitely already relegated. Like, I really don't see Venezia staying up. Do you guys? We'll look at the table at the end and we'll make that decision together. There's no real need to stay on this match too much. Bologna know that they're going to finish mid-table this season. They know that they're probably not going to crack a European spot again. There will be no repeat of the heroics from the Mandem. But at the end of the day, good for them to get their 3 points. Pinamonti can't stop scoring. You know how Inter needs a, what do you call it? You know how Inter's pretty much looking to replace a Marko Arnautovic. We have no buyback clauses left for this guy. We exhausted that allocation one too many with this player, and he's like legitimately Genoa's property now. And because of that, we stand no chance at getting him back unless we want to probably pay 25 million back. And we are definitely not going to put our pride aside and spend that much money on bloody Pinamonti. Okay, that's just not happening. So let's talk about the fact that Genoa got 3 points under Patrick Vieira. Now, Isaac Toure got a red card in the 4th minute of this match. I don't know if anybody watched this game. Copped a red in the opening 5 minutes, which is a disaster. Let's face it. It's actually horrible. You basically have ruined your team's chances at getting 3 points unless the gap between the two teams is so superior and vast to begin with, which it is not between Udinese and Genoa. In fact, you probably couldn't pick two teams that are more similar than Udinese and Genoa. So what happened was basically like there was a back pass from Toure. There was an elbow raised at some point. It wasn't Pinamonti that went to ground. It was the other attacker. I forget his name right now. But the red card was given straight up. Toure goes off, basically ruins the chance for his team to win the match. And Udinese are playing with 10 men for 90 minutes. Legit, because if you count stoppage time. The ball was like sort of scribbled through Udinese at some point, and that's when Pinamonti grabbed his goal. There was no threat for offside whatsoever, and it was pretty clean. And then Genoa just kept dominating the match. There were times where they should have scored even more. There was a shout for handball at one point in the first half, but I think it was deemed that he fell on the ball after it hit his leg. He couldn't have really done anything. I feel like they just didn't want to give a penalty at that point in time in the game. But, man, it is what it is, right? Anyway, Udinese, after a decent start to the season, have just fallen off the wagon big time. Genoa get 3 points under Patrick Vieira. I didn't watch too much of the actual game, though, so I'm actually not too sure if Mario Balotelli even got minutes. So I'm highly doubting that anybody here right now is aware that Mario Balotelli got minutes. We've got 12 people with us on... That's not Lord Figo. That's Lord Uxas. We have a different Lord here. I'll get to that comment in a second. Good. I'm just going to check something out. Balotelli, there's a photo of him clapping to the crowd. So he must have come on as a substitute at some point. Mario Balotelli. You can check the lineups on this website anyway. Mario Balotelli did come in as a substitute in this match. I don't know how he played. He played 14 minutes, 2 shots. Looks like he's behaving at 34 for the first time in his career. For now, we'll see what happens. He knows Patrick Vieira is not going to take any shit. That's the last thing that's going to happen. Patrick Vieira's not taking any shit. Anyway, Lord Uxas says, Booyakasha to the best decorated Inter room on YouTube. Yo! And a host that is Ballon d'Or worthy. That's ridiculous. Anyway, just smack the like for Antonito and Inter like we smacked every team in the Champions League. It's like one of the best comments we've got all year. It's fantastic. Thank you, brother. I knew it was a good idea to stream today. And if Bruno comes in, it's just like the cherry on top. Good win for Genoa, as we said. Let's move on to Parma and Lazio. The first time I actually thought to myself that Lazio was going to drop points in a while. And they did. They did. I couldn't believe I was right. I woke up and I was like, shit, I should have actually geared Parma. I can't believe I didn't gear Parma. I said it to myself the night before I went to bed. I go, Lazio is dropping points in this match day. It's actually going to happen. Can't believe it happened. Anyway, 3 goals for Parma. Not really what the doctor ordered for this game, was it? But they came out of the gates firing. Dennis Mann scores a goal. Mohamed scores. Anas Mohamed in the 53rd, 54th, 56th, 57th. I was watching the game back, so I remember the clock being on the 50s at some point. I think it was Castellanos who scored for Lazio, and it was definitely Del Prato who scored the last goal there. So good 3 points for Parma. Like, that was a highly non-expected 3 points for Parma. You got to say that. Nobody expected Parma to get the 3 points in that match. Interesting, though. Interesting thing has to be said. Rovella scored an absolute baller of a crack like a couple of minutes in. I forget if it was in the first minute or what, but Rovella scored a cracker and it was disallowed. And I think it was disallowed because Rovella himself pulled the guy down. Bruno's here. I'm going to bring him in a second. Oh, he can wait 1 sec. He'll bring himself in, my guy. Yeah, Rovella himself, that's probably why he sprinted away celebrating, trying to make it look like it. And then, if I'm not mistaken, he gives the fucking ball away to Dennis Mann, who scores the goal for Parma. This is the sort of shit that would make you absolutely spew. So Rovella pulls the guy down, scores the screamer, it gets disallowed, and 3 minutes later, I shit you not, ends up passing the ball back, and Parma make it 1-0. Bizarre things, cultural things, man. I think Lazio were tired, maybe because they are playing in Europe, and I think they were unlucky too. Fair play, but they did lose the game 3-1 at the end of the day. So well done to Parma, man, to get those points. And Lazio were threatening after that. Like, you could tell they were still coming hard. I think the ball was cleared off the line as well, or maybe the goalkeeper cleared it off the line. But when Parma scored that second goal, when Moe Don't Worry peaches that ball. Hey, Bruno, how are you, bro? How are you, baby?
Keep going.
So when Moe Don't Worry puts that ball into the top right corner, it's the most R1 circle finish that I've seen in Serie since Lorenzo Insigne basically left the league. And at that point, pretty much you think the game's over. Probably not a good thing to think, because Lazio do come back and score a goal. It was a scramble at the back. But 3 points for Parma. 3 points for Parma, no points for Lazio. They finally hit a speed hump, and now it's going to be all about how they react to that. Before we get into the match, because they are still poised very well on the ladder, Lazio, we'll talk about that at the end. Before we get into the next match, hello, how you going?
How are you? I had the notification pop up. I'm like, perfect time. I'm going to watch, and then just got this itch. Like, I've missed this stream. I need to be here. But Lazio, we can't give enough credit to Serie A in general, with teams competing everywhere. But Lazio, they're unlucky. They had so many good chances, and I think they really showed us what they're going to be capable of this season. They're nothing a walk in the park, but it's like one of those games where Inter would rock up, face a Swole, have 30 shots on target, and not one goes in, and they'll have 0 shots on target, but somehow 3 goals. So wouldn't write them off, but Europe is starting to bite some of these teams in the backside. And does Lazio have the depth to compete well in Europe? It's not like last year's Champions League, where this would probably be the last match day of the European Champions League. We've still got 2 more, 3 more after the next match day. There's 8 total. So I think
there's 3 more. There's 3 left. There's 3 left in total.
Yeah. So it's going to drag on. And then let's introduce the Coppa Italia into the mix. It's going to be very, very interesting. But Lazio, they have impressed. They do continue to impress. But I think for Lazio fans out there, I don't think they're happy with their success. They're happy with Roma's collapse.
For sure. But to be fair, what success? Not really anything just yet. So, but I'm sure that they'll look at the bracket of the Coppa Italia and think they can make a good challenge for that. Also, if they can make a deepish run in Europe, I mean, they'll be telling themselves if Roma can do it a couple of times, why can't we, right?
Exactly.
Bro, death, taxes, Scott McTominay scoring a goal. If I told you how many times I bet on him at Manchester United to score and won, it was good-ish. If I told you how many times I looked at anyone I was hanging out with and said, Scott McTominay is going to score, and I didn't put that bet, it's even more. But this is becoming an actual joke, bro. This guy's banging in goals for Antonio Conte for Napoli in 2024. If you told me this 12 months ago, I would have said, yeah, no worries, brother. Let me know when you wake up and we'll get back to reality. Nuts.
I think Conte does what Conte does best. But I also think it shows the disparity between the Premier League and the Serie. McTominay is having a field day. He's having a field day, but it's not just McTominay. It's the cohesion the whole team has. Conte's done something. I remember Zlatan said something about Lukaku's voodoo. I think something's happened with this team where he cut the dead weight of Osimhen. And everyone thought, well, what are you going to do? Started the season with a loss. And we go, yeah, Conte's out the door already. And you just look at where they're going. And he's got this team gelling. And he's doing what Conte does. And what's more impressive is this season is made and sculpted for Conte and Napoli to win this Scudetto. And I said it from the outset. As soon as Conte was announced, this season is shaped for Conte to win. No Europe. Don't care about the Coppa. And ADL's given him what he's wanted in Lukaku and McTominay. And he wanted more, but look at what he's doing with the bare minimum. ADL's going to open his wallet come January. And I'm worried.
Bro, they will be in this awesome position come January, and when they are, ADL will open his wallet a little bit, not a lot. He won't think it's it's necessary to drop big dimes, but he will enforce to some extent, I think. And good on them, bro. This is Conte's playground. Everybody knows it. And big up to Scott McTominay, bro. Like, I'm a Man United fan. I think he was underrated because a lot of Premier League fans, they only care about techers and looking flashy and being a flary player or a technical player. They forget about footballing IQ. They forget about players that have played the game their whole life and genuinely understand positioning and where the ball could very well end up based on statistical chance. And McTominay always seems to be there. It's not luck. It's not a coincidence. The guy has a high football IQ, and now he's got a high cultural IQ, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, look, I just got notification, and this is all rumor, but Chiesa to Napoli come January.
Yeah, possibly. I don't see how that could not happen. We know that Chiesa is going to be on the books for Serie A come end of season latest, so anything's possible.
I think Liverpool, they're doing wonders. They don't need him there. And Pep's collapse in England has just given them the confidence to say, let's send you out on loan. And I think Conte is going to be the first with his hand up, and I think Juve will be trying to compete for it. But this team is built around the Conte mechanism. When he won it with Inter, where did Inter finish in the Champions League group stage? Last.
You think Juve will try and get Chiesa back, like on loan or something?
They need depth. They need something. We're going to get to Juve. That's not who we're talking. But I think between Juve and Napoli, someone's going to have Chiesa in their team. Juve need the depth, and Conte could do with some of that extra star power behind them. But I just feel Chiesa is going to be at one of those two teams come end of January. And I'm not worried too much about Juve because one player is not going to change where they're at. But one player could make this team untouchable for the rest of the season.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I wouldn't rule out Roma as well for that signature. Speaking of, this was a game where Juve should have put it to bed inside the opening half hour. They had the good ideas, they had everything right, and they just didn't execute at all. Thuram missed an absolute sitter. I think it hit the post. Kosensal broke the line and did very well to dribble, but he hit the post as well. And then it got to halftime, and Cambiaso did a fantastic thing and scored an awesome goal. And then in the 93rd minute, he forgot that there was only about 73 seconds left in the match. Must have thought that it was Cambiaso against Lecce the whole game. So why can't it be just Cambiaso against Lecce one more time? Dribbles the ball, loses it aggressively. Lecce go down the other end. And Anth Rebic taps in. I gotta chuckle at the Rebic part, man. I still can't believe it was him. 1-1 altogether. Another game that leaves Motta frustrated players, but now more than ever, frustrated fans. And you know me, I love a good Juve meltdown better than the next person. And this was a bad one a couple of days ago online. I saw them all talk on their forums and everything. And now they're not happy. Now they really want to know why the hell you're dropping this many points against these sort of opponents. So as two Inter fans talking about Juve, I don't know how objective this is even possible to sound, but how much do you attribute it to the disgusting injury list, and how much accountability do they need to take altogether?
I was watching this game, and at the 88th minute, I went outside with my little short black, made one for myself and my neighbor. He's an older gentleman in his 70s and a massive Juventus fan.
Oh, dear.
And I go, why aren't you watching the game? He goes, it's going to be 1-1. And there was still 4 minutes to go. It was the 88th minute. And he goes, it's going to be 1-1. This team is useless. And he said to me, he goes, it's not the injuries. They thought Allegri was the issue. It's not the issue. Serie A isn't what it was 6-7 years ago. Serie A is a completely different ball game, and they're trying to run Juve ball from 9 in a row and try and dominate. It's not going to happen. And he was frustrated not at the team and at the result, but at the predictability. And lo and behold, my phone pings, Juventus won, Lecce won. And he looked at me and he goes, I know what the score is. Now, injuries are a massive problem. It's happening more and more frequently. You know, there's more severe cases into Fiorentina, for instance. But with the increase of football turning from a sport to a business, and these games and this format of the Champions League, and then the domestic cups, and then you're going to have these injuries, but you've got these financial stuff you need to adhere to. Juventus is the only one that has fallen victim so far. I would say let's talk about this 6-7 more match days down the track and see how many other teams have fallen victim. Manchester City. Everyone is falling victim to this accentuated format where we're playing so many more games. And yes, it's entertaining, but where's the break? Well, here's the break. We're doing internationals instead, where they're traveling across the fucking world. It's not working. Juventus, I'm happy. I'm happy. It's like seeing your ex trip over in a puddle as you're walking down the street. Anyone else, you might feel bad. You might offer a hand. But with Juventus, sucked in. But it's the squad depth, it's the arrogance, it's bringing in an immature manager. Juventus is a team up here. Motta was coaching down here, expecting to go up to there.
And that's finally what some of their fans are saying. But I don't think I fully agree with that, bro. I think he's been dealt a lot of blows. And I'm not even playing devil's advocate here. I think he's got the hardest situation of any first manager. That Juve badge is heavy, and that jersey weighs a ton. And, you know, I just don't want to see their fans in Turin call for his head, because it would be very unfair to let him go after one season.
I don't want to see the fans call for his head, because the way the results are going, I love it. But at the same time, can he turn this around? I don't think so. I don't think he's got the mentality. You put a Mourinho, a Conte, an Ancelotti, a Pep. One, they're going to be vocal come press conference about congestion and everything else, and they're going to be defending their team. But two, they're going to be taking definitive action. This team needs a camp. they're switched off. Something's not switched on there. They're switched off, and yeah, they could have put it to bed, but they didn't. They didn't. They switched off against Inter, and then Inter switched off, and there was 8 goals there. No top team should be conceding 4 goals, irrespective of your Inter or Manchester City or Barcelona or Real Madrid or whoever. You should never concede 4 goals. And it just showed where they're both at. But can he repair it? I don't think so. I think the damage is done. But if you look
I
at
don't think he's got the players to repair it wholeheartedly. No. I think they overrate a lot of their players. I think the expectations should be a bit lower. Sorry?
Do you give Pogba the opportunity to play?
He's already done, bro. He's already done. That case is done. He's completely nullified the contract now. That's completely over.
Well, there you go. I just think, in all honesty, it's a big problem. But we've seen it time and time again, not just in Italy, but all over Europe. When the results are bad, they don't look at the player, they sack the coach.
Something that I noticed as well, like Koopmeiners is not a 10. He's not a CAM. And like Motta insists on playing him there as well.
But he's doing well.
Koopmeiner, I don't think he's playing poorly. It's just the matter of the fact is that when you pay that much money for a player, he can't be in the debate of is he playing poorly. And this isn't us saying it, bro. Trust me. This is all of Juve fans saying it. So if anyone's watching, I get what this looks like on screen, yeah, but look beneath the surface. Let's move on from this game before people think it's a roast, yeah? Bro, talk about roasting. Let's roast Ranieri and Roma. Jesus Christ. Talk about a lamb to the slaughter. This is like a bad... Bro, what the hell? I didn't want to say it loud when it happened, even though I did message a chat with my friend Adam in it. And I said, bro, Ranieri, come on, man. This is a bad idea. And I think he was trying to be positive about it, but everybody in the chat knew, like, this was a bad idea. Ranieri is retired. There's no amount of love left for him to make this work. It's not going to work. It was never going to work. And if they end up in a relegation fight under him, it's going to look like a disaster. It's going to taint what was left of that beautiful man's career. I've never seen a manager go so long losing before winning something, and then he decides to win the Premier League with Leicester. Like, I still can't believe it happened. We live in a simulation, and here he is coaching Roma in a relegation fight. They should have just given it back to De Rossi, but I think everybody sort of knows that De Rossi's waiting for ownership to change back to a more traditional structure, and then he might give it version 2. Talk about Roma, and then I'll branch into Atalanta.
You could put Pep, you could put Alex Ferguson, you could put Ancelotti, all 3 of them to coach this Roma team, and the result would not have changed. The dressing room...
You really believe that? The team's got a great squad, but they're not this bad.
The dressing room's broken. They're fractured. And it's not because they're against the manager. They're against what happened to De Rossi. And they've been protesting that. The fans are disgusted. Where the decision came from, I don't know. But at the same time, this team is broken, and you can see it. You can see the way they perform. Then there's no drive. They're there to... Sorry. The neighbor brought their dog to the front. They're there to do a job and get paid. There's no passion. Yeah. I'm going to mute myself until this one shuts.
Fair enough. Great goal from Derun. Really, really good game from Atalanta. Once again, controlled the tempo pretty well. Let Roma have a fair bit more ball possession because, they were playing at the Olimpico and they felt, we can be a little bit respectful and give them the ball. The quality isn't there like it used to be, although they do have a little bit of an injection coming back with Paredes, but it's Paredes. Straight up. He might be a little bit better than the rest of the midfielders on the team, but it's Paredes. He's not that great. This guy on screen is a dog. And I'm laughing about it because I'm a mutual. I've got no invested interest in this whatsoever. But this guy is an absolute gronk, as we would call him if you are anywhere around the Sydney region. What a shit human being, bro. This guy has returned from an ACL injury after dogging out a club that took a chance with him at Roma. And now he takes his shirt off and runs to the Atalanta fans in the away end. I don't really want to even say in words how disgustingly disrespectful this is, but it's funny to me. And I know a few people were saying, "Oh, who cares? Just let it go." I don't think it's a nice thing to do, bro. And you don't see this happen very often. What are you saying, Bruno?
You're watching your old house burn down, and you're happy you've left it. I think
Right.
this fixture here showed two completely opposite sides of the spectrum. They're a juxtaposition of each other. You've got a team which has great players, but no cohesion, no passion. Then you've got a team with, I wouldn't say average players, but they're more average players than there are above average players, but they gel, they blend, and they do everything so well. Atalanta, up until the last Champions League match day, were one of the only teams to have not conceded a goal. And they've conceded one goal.
Yeah.
They're dominating in the Champions League. They're absolutely petrifying in the Serie A. And this Atalanta team, they've been hanging around for too long. They've been basically up there, but not up there. They haven't had the pedigree, and they've been up against the likes of a Cristiano Ronaldo Juventus, a Conte managed Inter Milan, Hungary's Zlatan Ibrahimovic's Milan, and Napoli, a Spalletti Napoli that was breaking all records, and again an Inter with Lautaro and Thuram just absolutely dominating in every facet of the game. They have been unlucky because they've been the bridesmaid and they've been up there, but they can't compete. The way this team is going, I can see them challenging for the Scudetto until the very end. And they might sacrifice that Scudetto for a deep run in Champions League because that's where the money's at.
But what are they actually coming in the Champions League table at the moment?
Well, they can't be doing too bad. I'm going to check now because at the end of the day, I've got it here now. Table Atalanta's 5th, right? They're 4 points off the perfect Liverpool and 2 points off Inter in second.
That's crazy.
They've played 5, won 3, drawn 2, scored 11, and conceded 1.
They're balling, bro.
This is a team that shouldn't be up there. This is a team that shouldn't be up there, but they're gelled. Yeah. And we've seen this Atalanta before. I think it was COVID Atalanta that were up there. And they stuck really well with the Juventus and the Inter. But I just want to see their fixtures because they beat Young Boys 6-1. That's where they conceded. They beat Stuttgart 2-0. They drew with Celtic at home, which was a bit heartbreaking. They drew with Arsenal at home, and Arsenal should be on a different level to Atalanta. And they beat Shakhtar away. So I think it's very interesting how this Atalanta team's going, but I think this game didn't highlight where Atalanta is. It highlighted how bad Roma is. And if it wasn't for what happened in regards to what we're going to talk about next, this would have been the saddest moment of the weekend. Seeing how the decline of Roma, and doesn't matter what and I feel bad for Ranieri. He's ruining his reputation to take this job. And I think he knew it. The guy's not going for another job anytime soon. He's done. So we'll see.
Yeah, fair call. Last game left, and I purposely left this one last and purposely clicked it out of the screen because I'm just not that sort of guy. There's nothing to show from this match, so it's literally going to last for 5 seconds. The slides last for 5 seconds, and then I talk just with my boy one-on-one. Scenes that you never want to see in your whole life, but the amazing level that humanity brings together for football. It was a really, really good showing from everybody involved, and that'll do. Really, really, really horrific scenes, man. I hate seeing stuff like this. So my view of it was my Inter body clock went off, and it usually goes off around about the 10th minute. That's like the magic period for me, the 10th minute. I know something's going on, but try to avoid waking up. As I look at it, I go to the bathroom and I open it up and I actually see like the ref saying that it's going to be like sort of abandoned and players standing around a player. And it was amazing how my brain, it only took about 2 seconds of processing. And straight away, I just said, there's no game. There's no game. Even if this game was to continue, there's no game. Don't even look at it, because whatever's going on right now, there's a player on the floor, and like, don't even do it. Don't even do it. I could tell it was one of those Christian Eriksen things. And I just don't have the emotional capacity to even want to look at that on a Monday morning before I go to work. So I quickly took a shower, came back out, and decided to just get all my information from chats. And like, all right, abandoned seizure. I'm like, holy crap, man. This actually happened in a game with Inter in it on a Monday morning. And when I'm just so grateful that the player's okay. And more so, it was really, it was the perfect reaction from a bunch of professional athletes to think about the fact that about 10 to 15 seconds before that, most, if not all, the Inter players were invested in asking the referee, please go and check VAR just in case that ball stayed in, because Lautaro had put the ball through the roof of the top net. The ball was called back initially for Denzel Dumfries. It went out for a throw-in. Dumfries did not keep it in. And then straight away, the realization that a player had fallen. And I think it was, ironically enough, Denzel Dumfries, who was standing on the far right sideline, waiting for the decision to be made because of his role in that potential goal. And he realizes that the player's fallen, and straight away he just motions across. And within a blink of an eye, every player in a purple and white shirt was around this guy. You know, I'm a conspiratorial guy, and it almost looked like players have had mandatory modules done on this sort of stuff, or they just know that there's a collective understanding between them at the moment that shit's a little bit real when it comes to the physical side of our sport at the moment, and we need to be there for one another. That's all I've got to say so far.
Look, I think it just highlighted this isn't just a sport. Yes, you might be competitors, but there's a mutual respect. And I can honestly say with my hand on my heart that could have been in any Inter game. It could have been against Juventus, could have been against anyone, and they would have acted in the same way. All of these people have families to go to. See, you said Christian Eriksen, I reminded you of this. As soon as it happened, I woke up not to watch the Inter game. I woke up to watch the Formula One. That shit's so interesting at the moment. And it happened to be at the same time the Inter game. So I had both. I was completely out of whack for the Formula One because the first thing that came to my mind was a story. And that Fiorentina captain who died in 2018. And in my head, I was like, this team again, you're muted. So it broke my heart thinking for this team again. But then there was a sense of pride seeing the competitors who were at war 15 seconds earlier there to protect their brother. Doesn't matter which team you were in. The referee looked in visible shock. And we've seen this time and time again, more frequently since 2001, right? Where players are just dropping like flies. Sergio Aguero, legend, heart problem, had to stop. It's happening more and more frequently, and the amount of times it's happened in the lower divisions is unspeakable. Now, some people were asking about when will this game be played. You know, this isn't fair. The Inter's going to in Fiorentina, they shouldn't have to have a game in hand. Who cares? Honestly, it's not the time. Now, reports have come out. He's been exacerbated. They've taken the breathing tubes out and everything. They've said they've cleared him of any heart or brain issues, and he had a seizure. I think there's a lot of politics in that statement being said. And we're not going to go into conspiracy theories or anything, but I think one of the biggest statements is if a doctor said it had something to do with the heart, his Serie A career has ended like that.
Yeah.
And we saw it with Eriksen. We've seen it multiple times before. So they're very political in the way they've said it. Fiorentina's not going to get him on the pitch anytime soon, and they're going to ensure that he continues to they do the proper testings, but we take a minute and we understand what's happened. This guy's got a family to go to. It doesn't matter which team you support. It was, do you remember the Chaponesi plane crash?
Yeah.
It unified the whole football world. Christian Eriksen. When bad things happen to players or teams that isn't in their control, you see the true passion and you see the true supporters of the game. Now, when this game will be replayed, I don't know. Rumors are saying they're only going to play 45 minutes because that's when the game was abandoned at the 45th minute. I think that's complete bullshit. I think you started from scratch and you play it in the back end of the season because this isn't the time to be talking about it, and there's too many fixtures coming up. But overall, I think that passage of 14 minutes of play and what happened was more physically demanding on the players than if they played 180 minutes straight. Because every one of those players' hearts would have sunk and the mental drain. So I think credit to the referee, and
it's easily the right decision to cancel the game and delay the game.
Yeah,
it's
but not
easy
just
to make.
The way that it conducted themselves, even the broadcasts and everyone, credit to everyone. We've learned from previous issues. We've learned from previous mistakes. And let's just hope everything is well on his end, because no one deserves it. Not in this sport, not in any sport, not in any sense of it. We can banter as much as we want, but yeah, it makes for an interest. And you got to remember, this game was, at the time, both teams were equal second.
Yeah.
So it was a big game.
Yeah, it was a big game.
So we'll see.
Looking at the ladder now to finish us off, it's been a really good video. It's great to have Bruno back on the stream. Napoli 32, Atalanta 31, Inter 28, Fiorentina 28, both with games in hand though. A big game in hand whenever it does get replayed. Lazio makes up 5th with 28, Juve on 26. As we scroll a little bit down. Sorry, I couldn't fit Milan in the screen, guys. Milan 7th with 22 points, Bologna. But they also have a game in hand, and so do Bologna. Oh, Milan's game is against Bologna. Is that... I don't know how that goes.
1-1.
Yeah, good. Yeah, we've got a little bit of poetic justice coming around this season, I feel. Milan on 22. Big up to Titi. Rangers having a fantastic season. Can't wait to see him keep going. Bologna have finally clawed their way out of their bad start to the season. Udinese are on 17. Bit of a gulf starting to form between European spots / potential European spots and mid-table. You can start to see that mid-table, by definition, might start and stop at Udinese this season. Plenty of football to play, obviously, but it wouldn't surprise me if what you're seeing in the top 8 rotates within each other and there are no outsiders from the top 8 that creep into that top 8. Yes, there is a popular team missing from that top 8. Well, there's a popular team missing from that top 8, and we haven't even got them on screen yet because they are 16th or 17th at the moment.
I think mid-table starts at 7th, and I think Milan's season thus far, they're not going anywhere.
I think it's been donkey shit.
Highlight was beating Inter, and that's it.
The thing about us this season, Bruno, the one thing I'll give credit for, and it's a real bittersweet thing to enjoy. We have copped some shitty results against our bitterest rivals, and we can't forgive and forget it, because that Milan loss is a disaster. The 4-4 is a disaster. And Hakan, you could have picked any other bloody time to miss that penalty, brother, and I'll keep saying it to my death. But the one silver lining is that we seem to hulk up extremely quickly when that happens. We're out for blood the moment we hit the pitch after that. And I dare say, anybody in our way after we cop a bad result, if you're the next 3 or 4 opponents, nah. You don't want to be the next 3 or 4 opponents after Inter drop a bad game.
Nah. And Milan, actually go through the table. I'll do a quick match day 15 preview for you because there's some juicy fixtures.
So Empoli, I think, still having a decent season with Parma as well. Like the next couple of sides, Empoli, Parma, Torino, they all have enough quality in their lineup and managers at the helm that will survive this relegation fight comfortably. Teams that don't have the capacity, barring Roma, obviously, are still for me Cagliari. Although, you know what? Patrick Vieira is the sort of profile that will survive a relegation fight, in my opinion, in Serie A. It's still said to be still plenty to be done. Serie A is tough. Genoa is tough. The fans have put a lot of expectations on their club. It's a very big footballing city in Italy when you compare it to the other cities. So, yeah, Roma in 15th after 14 match days is still one of the most bizarre things that you will see in European football this season. 13 points off 14 games. They have less competition points than games played. That's the sort of sentence that will keep you up at night having nightmares if you are a Romanisti, or up at night crying in laughter if you are a Laziali. Lecce are floating above the relegation zone. Verona, there is something about me this season that just wants them to get relegated, to be honest, because I want Monza and Como to survive. I want the Lombardy region to survive and thrive, apart from Milan. And Venezia, bro, this is one of the worst teams in Serie A I've seen in 20 years, bro. This is a Crotone.
They released some amazing jerseys.
This is a Pescara, it's a Novara, it's a Salernitana. It's not working, and it's not going to work. Bad. But there was that once, the season that they did get relegated. Remember, it was over for them by like match day 17. They registered one win, and everyone was like, "Whoa!" That's the match day.
Venezia, I think you described Empoli last season with this metaphor. They come into the pub, have a beer, and walk straight out. You know they're not going to be at the table for long. I love them, but they dropped some dope jerseys. But I got to say, the competition's not there.
Match day 15. Let's do a 5-minute preview to finish us off today, and then we are out of here.
So Champions League is next week.
Saturday morning.
Inter and Milan and Atalanta are playing Saturday morning. I don't mind this fixture. Inter have had a longer break. But at the same time, I'm more inclined to watch the Atalanta-Milan game because it will definitely be fireworks. I think it's one of those games that can really define both of their seasons.
You could be right there, probably, cuz.
Yeah, I think if Atalanta get the win, it just really emphasizes where Milan's at, and they shouldn't be competing for much. And if Milan get the win, it just shows they've got capabilities, but they've got to do something about it. Roma Lecce, it's a great fixture for Roma to try and get a win on the bounce. Juve Bologna, there's 5 points separating them on the table. Fantastic fixture. And it's one of those games where Bologna might just...
Thiago Motta back against Bologna.
I think it's one of those games where everything goes their way. But my game of the round would have to be the last fixture of the round. And that is, keep going. Napoli-Lazio. I think
Napoli's going to win, cuz.
Yeah, and you know what? If Napoli win this, they will really solidify their place. But the eyes will be on Lazio to see how they bounce back after that Parma loss. Right? Yeah. But some amazing games. Monza, Udine. I think Venezia Como is going to be one of those fixtures where you're going to be watching like this.
Oh, I wish I could watch it. If I wasn't at work, I'd be all over this game. I don't know if you heard me at the start of the stream, but I love a good old-fashioned relegation 6-pointer. I froth over it.
And I heard it, and I quickly thought to myself, there's one this weekend. And I want to see what happens with the Monza Udinese. Again, it's a great battle, but Fiorentina Cagliari is... I don't know what's going to happen with that fixture. It's a good time for us.
Fiorentina wins that game comfortably. You got to remember both of Fiorentina and Inter are resting on 70 minutes more rest than anybody else in the league at the moment.
If the game goes ahead. I do know there are special conditions in guidelines due to something happening. There may be a mental clause where they're not ready to play after witnessing, and I think the same rules will apply to Inter. I don't think Inter will be
possibly,
taking that option.
but I don't think about.
No,
I don't think so.
Just keep it in mind. Keep that in mind. But it will be a very special game for Fiorentina at home. I feel they'll have the entire stadium packed. And Anthony, it's at a gorgeous time for us.
Yeah, man. That's a good time for us to watch. So let's do something fun. Let's try and predict this. This is a good match day, man. This would make a great multi, this fixture set up right here.
So, Inter and over 1.5.
Yeah, that would be good. But I'm just going to predict winners for the sake of it for this stream. We have to win this game at home against Parma with the rest that we've had.
Yep.
Atalanta Milan is that sort of game where I really want Milan to lose, but looking at the ladder, man, we could afford Gasperini to drop some points.
I think it is I think they share the points here.
I'm going to go 2-2.
I think any of the Milan teams facing Atalanta, both teams, it's like Inter playing at the San Siro against Milan. It's a home game for all involved. It's a 40-minute drive. So you're going to have a great stadium. I really see a draw coming out of this. I think there's some redemption.
Yeah, I think I'll go draw for that as well. Genoa will be... Oh, my God, bro. Coco's miss against Napoli was disgusting. And I'm so shitty that I backed him hard in, the match day 4, 5, and 6 show that I was doing here. But that was horrible, bro. That was horrible. That being said, I think Torino need some points. I'm happy to pick this as one of the mid-table draws for this round. And I might actually look into that because if that's playing anything above $3, there's some money to be made on this game.
Yeah, I also think that Torino and Genoa had a very comfortable ride going into that match day. They were playing against 10 men for 85 minutes. And, I can see Super Mario coming on and doing some antics. But I think that will be a great fixture.
Juve, Bologna, look, we are way beyond must-win territory now for Juve. If Thiago Motta loses or draws to his former club in Turin, bro, the Allegriani are going to come out in like a neo-Nazi fashion level protest, bro.
I think Juve drop 2 points here.
Nah.
But I also think Motta reprises all criticism when he beats Manchester City 1-0. And that's not banter. I love my City, but this team is shell-shocked with injury. And I just think this is the type of game Motta will turn around and just produce some form of a miracle. And you're playing in Turin, you're playing against City, and he'll do something in this game. But I think either way, Juventus dropped 2 points here.
I'd love nothing more to see that. If Roma don't win this game, I reckon they'll start talking about sacking Ranieri. And look at your face. This is so heartbreaking to talk about. These owners, these are the worst owners in Italy. It's so bad. It's actually gross.
What are they going to do? Sack Ranieri and bring in Lippi? Let's go through all the ancient coaches that have won something.
Bro,
right?
I don't even want to predict this game, but
Mancini?
I think Roma's going to win. Nah, that wouldn't happen due to these Lazio connections.
Pirlo in?
Maybe. Bro, that's not a bad shot. Who knows how bad they could regress.
I regretted saying that because I don't think that's a bad shout at all.
Yeah. Roma's going to win this game. I'm going to predict it 3-0, to be honest. If the Fiorentina game goes again, they'll smack the living shit out of Cagliari for more than one reason. Verona Empoli, that is your boring game of the fixture, bro. Only because I know how these two teams play. This is going to be chicken shit FC versus chicken shit FC. You take the ball. No, you take the ball. No, you have a shot. No, you have a shot. They both stink, but Empoli are better at knowing how to play the game of culture with the personnel that they've got and the manager that they've got on board. Empoli win this game 1-0 or it goes 1-1. But Verona desperately need points. God, they suck.
I think, both teams are averaging. Do you know Hellas Verona is averaging more than a goal a game?
Are they? Well, they're not.
They've played 14 games and scored 17.
Yeah.
But they've conceded 33.
They're so shit. They're the second
They're
worst team in
shit.
Serie A, and I'll back
No,
that conversation until they prove it wrong.
but I think and Empoli concedes a goal a game. I think it's gonna be shit. I think 1-0, if that. Or you have the complete flip side and it's something stupid. But all eyes for me this week are on Venezia Como.
Venezia Como will be a good game. I just wanted to say, like, I knew at the start of this season Pietro Pellegrini would have a half decent season at Empoli, and I think he's doing very, very well with the form he's got. Hey, I think that it's awesome to see Mattia De Sciglio get minutes in a different jersey, and I just think that they've just got a little bit more quality. So if you're looking for an away fixture that might get up, you could actually see Verona drop more points to Empoli. Yeah. Venezia Como is going to be good. If you want to back Como away, that would also be good money. But it's also a good time for Venezia to pick up their shit and go, if I know we're the worst team in the league at the moment, but it's the relegation battle of Serie A. You get 3 points, mate, you're completely breathing oxygen again, no matter what. 3 points through any stage of the season, and you're breathing again completely. This is a great time for Venezia to turn it around. This is a good-looking match day, bro.
It's a great match day. It's a great match day, and you've got competition, top of the table, mid-table, relegation. Napoli, Lazio. Like, everyone thinks Napoli can win, but I think Lazio got smacked around a bit too easily, and they're going to be out for blood. If they can get this blood, I think you're going to see their true colors, but I don't see anyone walking away with 3 points outside of Napoli there. I just think it's going to be one of those games where ADL, what's the freaking, I don't want to use words that I'll regret here. The owner of Lazio, Latito,
yeah.
I think it's the clash of the two owners that everyone looks forward to every year.
The two old school boys.
Both as bad as each other. Only one as bad as them was Berlusconi. But I think it will show where Lazio's at. If Lazio gets a point from this, they're true contenders for the rest of the season. They're true contenders for Champions League football, especially with that extra spot. But yeah, even Monza Udinese, there might be a bit of a rift in the table between the two of them, but Monza's a team that can pull some games out when they need to.
I think that they're better than the position on the table reflects for.
Oh, definitely.
Monza. I think they've got better players, but they're winless in like 5 or 6 games. They can't win games. They cannot win games to save their ass.
Had 14 games, 1 win, 6 losses, 7 draws.
Yeah, they cannot win games to save their ass, bro.
I think that this game is a Monza draw.
Bro, I'm going to say this sentence, and I know it only applies to one person in that generational bracket, but Maldini is bang average. And there's only one Maldini that you can say that sentence about. And I swear to God, man, Daniele is not that guy. I'm watching him and I want him to be that guy. I want him to do well. How could you not want him to do well? But when he plays, I look at him and I go, you look like a guy who already knows his career was going to do well because of your father. And I hate saying that because I'd rather it would go down the Thuram model where both kids want to emulate their father and even surpass him in more ways than one. But with Monza, I'm waiting for anybody besides Dani Motta to do anything. By the way, like I said throughout the season, Dani Motta definitely getting a contract somewhere else after he's done this season with Monza. There's no way he stays another season there. And Pessina here and there, the captain doing his thing. If they can hit the big man Juric, that's it. Does anybody know that Stefano Sensi is in the Monza squad, right? Did you know that? No. He's there. He's there, bro. He played only like a week and a half ago. I'm pretty sure he's there.
Oh, if he played a week and a half ago, he's probably out for the next 6 months, based on previous things. But look, I think he was great. I loved him. He just couldn't stay healthy. And sometimes I think it was in his head.
I think it was, bro, to be honest. But anyway, that's it. That's it for this match day. I think that'll do us for today, actually. Bruno, thanks for stopping in again, bro. It was nice to see you.
Oh, always. Like I said, I always want to jump in. Always want to do some stuff. But I think we'll probably take something up after next week's Champions League match day. because
Sounds good.
I believe 15 points is the magic number to have a game in the next round. And 13 points is to qualify for knockouts. That's what the pundits were saying.
What do you mean 15 points to have a game in the next round, to not have a game in the next round, you mean?
No, if you're on 15 points, you'll be qualifying for the next stage, whether it be in the top 8 or the bottom 16.
All right, cool. Oh, okay, so by the end of next match day, 15 points will have you qualified in some realm.
Yeah, well, that's where they're predicting, but they said that could drop as low as 13, depending on the next match day's results. They said it's too early to tell. With 9 points available, like you look at it, 9 points would put. Where the hell's Real Madrid on this table? 9 points would put Real Madrid on 14.
Yeah, okay, cool.
All right.
Wait, 9 points from now would put Real Madrid on 14
points.
Oh shit, they need to get their asses together ASAP, bro. What's City on?
City. Oh, they're doing a bit better. 9
that
points
Juve
would put
City
them on 17.
Wild.
9 points will put them on 17. City and Juve on the same points. Oh, yeah. Definitely. But I think this is a great opportunity for an Italian team to win the Champions League. You know, I think it's between Liverpool and everyone else. Bayern Munich struggling, PSG, don't even mention them as one of the elites anymore. City struggling, Real Madrid struggling. And then you've got your Minos, Juve. They're not going to get anywhere, but they're there to make up numbers in this competition. But I think if any team, if Serie A was to have a Champions League winner this season, is the season for it to happen. And that could be in the form of Inter, Atalanta, who knows? But
absolutely,
it's going to be interesting. We should tee something up next Thursday. Talk match day 6 Champions League. Will be interesting.
It will be. Thanks for coming, bro. Thanks for the people that got into the chat. I'll see you on match day 15 and for some content regarding Inter and Parma. Forza Inter, Forza Inter.